guys, this is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your daily horoscope and energy reading for Monday, the 12th of October, and today is the new moon in Libra. Below in the comments, I will have your sun sign, moon sign, rising sign listed below with the timestamp for your personalized energetic reading. So today, the new moon in Libra is in opposition with Uranus and Aries, and it is in square with Pluto and Capricorn. So to me, this suggests, when I see this, we've got this beautiful Libra-based energy, this heart-based energy. Funny, my present card, here, I'm going to show you guys. It is Venus in the challenge position. To me, that always signifies when I see Venus. When I see that card, I see Venus. And so today, I think this moon is about starting new beginnings in the midst of opposition. So I like opposition energy. It challenges us to make new, it challenges our perspectives, it challenges our belief systems, and it challenges us to make changes. So I find it really super positive that we have some opposition on a new moon. Now, when you have such a beautiful positive energy as a new moon signifies in astrology new beginnings or new intentions, a forward belief system. You want to take the energy at the time and you want to manifest it until the next new moon. And for this new moon, it is in Libra. Well, Libra represents partnerships, marriages, unions, litigation, legal matters. It represents justice, right? It represents balance. So that's a lot of important energies, and we've been dealing with those for quite some time because we've had our sun in Libra, and we've had a lot of important energies in Libra. And we just actually had our node shift out of Libra and into Virgo. So there's a lot of push for us to find balance in our day-to-day routines, our work routines, and our mental health routines. And so they all tie together with this whole needing to balance out your life. And the fact that the new moon is in opposition with Uranus and Aries energy, and that suggests that there's going to be a possible awakening in this energy, or a strong belief system is going to be challenged. And I want to say that this has something to do with your ego, because Pluto and Capricorn energy is being squared. And Pluto can represent fears, obsessions. It's the darker parts of you. It's the place where you hide everything. To me, I call it your deep, dark chocolate layer, where it's almost like you almost sometimes even hide this stuff from yourself. And it's in Capricorn. That suggests to me that you are really trying to secure your foundation. You are trying to stabilize your life while incorporating your old belief system. And so that can challenge your need for more security and start to invoke some fear. So fear is powerful in our lives. I don't think people understand the point of fear. Fear challenges us, right? It challenges us to get the hell out of the situation, right? It could be a scary situation, and it tells our body to run, and it releases chemicals in our brain that says, okay, run. That's not a good, that's not a good situation for you to be in. So it increases our adrenaline, so it gets us the hell out of Dodge. Or what it does is the fear associates enough pain to want to make a change, or discomfort, or that heightened sense of needing to get out of it. So I like that we are in a state of fear. We are in a state of needing to stabilize our situation, and it is evoking fear. It is creating enough stimulus in our brain to want to make some changes. So today, I believe some of the things that we're going to want to work on is these marriages, unions, important partnerships. We're going to want to work on maybe we're caught in some legal battle, so we're going to be doing some negotiating, and we're standing up for what's right and what's just, many of us. We're also discussing contracts and, signing contracts. Like, say if you want to buy something that's pleasure-based, maybe you want to upgrade your life and move into a brand new house. It's really beautiful and it's a mansion and you're trying to get a big loan for it, or you're trying to develop a creative endeavor and you're trying to get financial backing or recognition from people, approval from people. This can invoke fear. But also, when we're in a fearful state, we're also in a very acute state of mental awareness of our lives, of our situation, of where we want to be. We set powerful goals, and we really make powerful changes when we're in this fearful state. So there could be a lot that goes on during this new moon that you need to seek balance in. And balance is very important. Maybe something comes up that throws us off balance, and it challenges our need to develop more balance in our lives. So it's a time to pay attention to every single detail, right? Get very detail oriented. You're going to want to strategize how you want to move forward. You're going to be setting some powerful goals for yourself. And you're taking into account everybody in your situation, including your partnerships. You are going to really evaluate and see the flaws in things. So this is a time of deep introspection moving forward. I think for these next 30 days, many of you are going to be turning inward. You're going to be working a lot from within, from behind the scenes. And there's going to be a lot going on underneath that people aren't going to be necessarily on board with. You're not going to get everybody on board with, because these are things you're working through. There's a lot of burdens that you've been dealing with. And, I think you're trying to seek some balance. You're trying to find a way to develop a really strong support system in your life that takes some of the burden off of you. And so some of you might experience a little bit of a challenge with that. And I think that that's just something that's internal with you. That's something that you're working through. I think it's something where you're trying to find enough inner strength to maybe stand up to these challenging aspects that are in your life. You feel a new beginning, you see it, but I think right now you're a little defensive about your stand and where you want to go. There's a lot brewing, and you're trying to stabilize, and it's not only that it's brewing, it's that you see a picture of your life, and it is very angelic, and it's actually attainable. So Venus, your ruler, is going to be conjunct Mars and Jupiter in Virgo. You guys, they're all working together. So this is about getting your passion on board with your purpose and the relationships that you seek to partner in. And it's about expanding really positive routines in those relationships to make you flourish and take some of the burden off of your soul. But it's in the opposition with Neptune and Pisces. So what this suggests to me is there's still an element of non-reality that I think that is keeping this picture from actually happening, right? So you see it, it's tangible, it can happen. You're at the point where you can get it, but I see there's still work to be done. And so that's why this moon is about setting intentions to get all of that work done. So you may be very critical about some unrealistic expectations that you have, and you're going to want to discuss this. You're not happy about it. You may feel scattered and uneasy and nervous about this particular partnership. I mean, you've been dealing with this for a while. I think you've spent a lot of sleepless nights over these issues, but it's time to bring these issues out into the open and negotiate them all out. And this could have to do with work, a creative endeavor. Definitely could have to do with maybe it's a routine that you have that is detrimental, or maybe somebody's routine that they do impacts you. And so there's just discussions that need to be had about it. You may have some fears about moving forward, and you may not be fully conscious of. And I think that's where you get this introspective energy starts to come into play and starts to pull out some of this Neptune energy that's deep within our subconscious realms that we don't necessarily know about. It's kind of in our 12th house area that maybe needs to come out so that we can set new intentions and create balance in those imbalances, those imbalancing areas. And Jupiter may expand some faults or critical flaws during this time. So some of you may experience kind of like an overall shakeup, or maybe you may have to get defensive, or maybe there might be some fighting around this new moon. And that's just opposition doing its magic to challenge some of the trials that you've been having deep within your subconscious. This just pulls it out and makes you have to deal with it. Otherwise, I think we would just keep it in the closet and be like, I'd rather just trying all this out and stay in the high vibration of energy and not deal with it at all. So that's the point of this entire new moon. Stay tuned. I am going to go through each sign and tell you how this will affect your sun, moon, and rising sign. Hi Scorpio, this is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for the new moon that is going to be happening in Libra. And for you, all of this is going to be happening in your 12th house. So what is the 12th house? The 12th house represents your subconscious mind. It's the house of reckoning, of undoing. It's the house, it's kind of where we put a lot of our mental stuff that we don't want to deal with for a better time. It's where we compartmentalize what we can deal with and what we can't. And for you, your rulers, Mars and Virgo, is going to be trining Pluto and Capricorn. So, I said in the monthly readings that you guys are going to feel there's a lot of powerful energy, but it's going to be hard for you to want to tap into it. Now, if you're smart, there is some major healing going on in Pluto, in your fears, in some of the stuff that was going on as far way back when. There's some old unconscious wounds that are can really you can get a hold of, right? You can stabilize these outcomes. You can stabilize some of your fears. You can create a stable outcome in general as far as in your foundation, but you have to tap into it. The challenge for you is going to lie in the motivation to do so. For many of you, this moon is going to be a blessed event. You are going to feel like everything is kind of going your way. There's a lot of fire coming back into your life. There's a change coming, but I don't think it's a change that is altogether scary until you have to make the decision. But for now, that's forthcoming, but that's not right here. So I don't feel like you need to want to control that outcome because I think it's so far off in the distance. I think you, for the most part, are feeling kind of big for your britches and feeling like, for the most part, you take care of business and your ego's pretty intact. So I don't think you need to worry about this change that is pending. I think that for the most part, you have found a way to find some balance in your current situation. And that I think you're feeling pretty valued and overall you're fine. Where I think some of this unconscious work that you need to do is going to lie, or some of the lessons that you need to do is going to be actually when you sleep. You are going to be very highly intuitive. You're going to have some dreams directing you because there's not a lot of energy doing so. You're being trined. And so if you are in poor coping methods, you're not feeling too stimulated to change them. If you are having a hard time finding passion, that's okay because you are at a lull point and you're kind of enjoying it. You're not in overdrive right now, but when the energy seep into you is in the night, is in your dreams. And That is when you know a decision needs to be made. It is when you know that there is an imbalance in your life. Outwardly, there isn't. Outwardly, things are going your way. You're not making any decisions, so you're not making any changes, so there's no shakeup, so there's no reason for fear to be dealt with. And so you're kind of skating through your 12th house. So you think, but in your unconscious realms, there is something asking you to wake up to something, to make a decision, to move forward. A lot of your childhood issues are being alleviated. I think you're starting to feel some enthusiasm about life in general, but it's when it's in the night, there's something calls to you. There's something that says that there's a grief injustice still at this point that you need to stabilize, and that you're hiding from. It's almost like you're avoiding it. You're kind of turning your back. You're pretending like it's not there because there's no powerful energies motivating you. One of the things that you need to understand about trine energy is if you have a whole chart full of trines, I feel sorry for you because there's no opposition, right? And there's no sextiles. A sextile stimulates change. It stimulates awareness. It makes you want to move forward. It gives you momentum. It puts the passion into that part of wherever that beautiful sextile in. And for you, that's in the unconscious realms. That's dealing with your 12th house. That's facing awakening energy and allowing it to open you up and give you new perspectives. When you have trine energy like this, however, there's no stimulating energy for you to do anything about your situation. So you're just floating along in cloud. You know, everything is kind of going your way. It's smooth sailing. You're not, I mean, I think at night and when you're alone, I think you've experienced this, but for the most part, since the majority of the day is spent conscious for you, that you're aware of, I think that you're not going to be able to tap into this gorgeous Chiron energy that I see. So for some of you that really want to challenge, really, really like that Scorpio spirit to come out and really get some control over something, I would say dive into that 12th house. You know, if you have a weird dream or if you keep having like weird feelings, if your intuition is telling you something, I would write it down, and that's the point of healing. That's where Chiron, the wounded healer, is going to be working deep within your subconscious to try to find a way to problem solve that area and to set forth some powerful routines and to stabilize that situation moving forward after all this trine energy goes away. It's something to think about. Again, I don't think this new moon is altogether bad for you. You can set powerful intentions to stay exactly where you are. Keep this happy little world that you have right now, where there's opportunity, you're valued, you're feeling a small sense of pride. Some of the things that you were hoping are starting to manifest in your life. And I think your ego is pretty much being restored, and you can look back and see that you are making headway. But I tell you this, and mark my words, change is coming. Change is coming for you, and I want you to be prepared for it. I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm just saying that it's something that you will have to make a decision, and it's something that used to cause you a lot of pain, and it's an imbalance of some sort. Thank you guys so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event. Hi Sagittarius, this is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for the new moon that's going to be in Libra. And for you, Jupiter, your ruler, is in conjunct with Mars and Venus all in Virgo during this particular event. So what this means is that there's a lot of focus on routine, well, in your mental well-being, your physical well-being, as well as your work routine. Also, all of this is going to be going on in your 11th house. So to me, this suggests that, friendships are going to be important. If you're trying to expand your business and create opportunity for your work to expand, or opportunities to expand, friendships and social media just may be the trick to set some new intention and maybe start a little bit of networking, which you never have a problem doing. You always have a big, giant social network that creates a lot of opportunity for you. Now, during this same time, Jupiter in Virgo is going to be opposing Neptune in Pisces and Chiron in Pisces. So to me, this suggests that there's some healing that needs to be done, and it's stuff that you bury. It's like you always come off of this really fun-loving, easygoing, everything's going your way, and you want to appear a certain way, but I think there's some stuff going on behind the scenes, and I want to say that this is some mental burdens that you are carrying around right now that is causing, it's almost like you have an exposed wound, and every once in a while you pour salt in it to validate that it's there. Outwardly, you don't appear to have these issues, but inwardly, in the darkest realms of your mind and all that 12th house area, there's a wound that needs to be healed. And so anytime we have opposition, I love to tell you that opposition is just one of those energies that plays devil's advocate in our head. And it really challenges us to approach it with a new perspective on a situation. So if you are experiencing these issues, then you need to pay attention to it. Now, for some of you, I want to say that you're holding back, and it has to do with the fact that somebody may have been sick in your life, or and there was a loss associated with that. Some of you may have lost something due to some of the poor coping methods that you have. It came to your attention and your ego kind of stepped in, and, it created a bunch of drama. Maybe this happened around the eclipse. Maybe this happened, the eclipse season, or maybe it happened during the Mercury retrograde, or the Mercury retrograde initiated you to start pondering and looking back on opportunities lost. And so that may be playing with your head a little bit during this new moon. Your ego can sometimes get the best of you, and you use knowledge almost as a weapon. And it does make people shy away from you. And you're not wanting that. What you're wanting is to bring people closer to you and to feel rich in your life. And so, if you find that you're more defensive than usual, and, your ego is getting the best of you, others are a wonderful, wonderful gauge for that. And so, the side note to all of this is, I see that you have some beautiful energy coming your way, but I think what you're going to have to do is really value some of the closest relationships in your life. There could be a significant relationship in your life. It could be a partner at work. It could have something to do with work. You could be collaborating with people. And sometimes you can be a little bit overbearing, and it causes people to withdraw and hold back. And you often look back and have regrets about doing that. But I do believe that Jupiter's going to go in and expand this issue for you and really get you to get a grip on the fact that sometimes acknowledging people and their faults and letting them be vulnerable with you is truly part of a healing process for people. You have a lot of knowledge to give. There is something tremendously beautiful about you. And if you start healing some of these areas in you, then you could turn out to be a wonderful healer for somebody very close in your life. But you have to accept this challenge of Neptune. It could be something that you avoid completely. You do like to avoid things that don't make you feel good. But to me, the longer you avoid this issue, the more it stands in the way of opportunities. So I would be very mindful of some of the ways that you deal with people, especially your closest relationships and some of your friendships. When you have three energies working together and your energy is tied into it, your primary energy is tied into it. Now, Venus is debilitated and Mars is debilitated and it's conjunct with your ruler. So this suggests to me that there's just some there's some challenges in places that you normally feel lucky. So you're normally really lucky in love. You have a great passion and a fire, and but those energies aren't really fired up right now. They're kind of at a disadvantage, and they work a lot in a lower energy vibration. So that drags your energy right along with it. So if it's really high, if you're really in love and you're really feeling passionate, then you're doing good because Jupiter's going to go in and expand that, your ruler. But if you're looking at your love life, and especially close partnerships, and there is some room for improvement because you can be very hypercritical in this energy. And when you get very hypercritical, what you tend to do as a Sagittarius is you use knowledge as a weapon. So you research it, and then you come back and you voice your opinion, and you don't validate the vulnerability of the people that you're talking to. So it's almost like you become debatable about a topic, and that does tend to make people shy away from you. You tend to come on a little bit too strong. So Jupiter's going to make you aware of that. But there's also great opportunity before you. But I think what it is you've got to remove ego and see it for what it is. It may not be the opportunity of a lifetime, but sometimes accepting those little opportunistic things that come into your life lead to really big opportunities that really advance you. But you have to be humble enough to see an opportunity, a simple opportunity, for the potential that it is. And you like to live larger than life, and you like to live the big life, and you like to expand everything. But sometimes acknowledging the fact that there are issues within inside of yourself that make you have to live large, meaning sometimes you appear to others to be bigger and stronger and a leader, when inside there's a lot going on, that you don't let everybody else in on, because it makes you vulnerable, and that's just not who you are. You don't want to spend a whole lot of time dissecting your vulnerabilities. This sets some new intentions to become, I want to say that some of you may be very hypercritical of yourself right now. You may not be living up to your expectation. Now, this is all going on behind the scenes and internally. This is not something that you portray. You portray strength, you portray assertiveness, you portray confidence, but I really want you to let Chiron in and let some healing happen, and get humble in this energy. Put your ego aside and set some beautiful new intentions on. Let's set up some powerful, empowering routines that really deeply empower you, not just externally, what you appear to have it empower you, but deeply. And then let some of these beautiful friendships, these really close friendships, in to where you really are at, because some of them could have some invaluable advice that could really regenerate your soul and start this healing that Chiron wants to do within inside of you. Thank you guys so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event. Hi dear Capricorns, this is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for the new moon that is going to be in Libra. And you have some pretty energy to talk about. All of this stuff is going to be going off in your 10th house, and 10th house is that career, life path, destiny marker. One of your favorite houses, by the way. That's what stimulates your whole need to exist, right? Is to create goals and achieve them. So for you, your ruler in Sagittarius is in a delightful mood, speaking in harmony with Mercury in Libra. So this is about opening up your perspective on something and about talking about it. It could mean some absolutely terrific news. Now, I want to say there was a challenge that came up around the eclipse season, and it really had you thinking about some things. So, Saturn, even though it has a delicious sextile to talk about, is having a little bit of difficulties in setting up some powerful routines, and I think that that's where you are figuring it out. You know, you're very goal-oriented, and sometimes when you get so focused, it's really hard to weigh heart with passion, with goals, with wants, with desires, with social status, and sometimes that can be a little bit mentally overwhelming. And so what we need to do is reel this all back, take a look at this before we get a shocking awakening in this aspect. Now, you are one hard-headed little mofo. And so sometimes you wait until this card comes up, yikes, in the challenge position, for you to finally frack in, do anything about your situation, right? Because you are hard-headed. You think you own the world. You think you can do it all, and you can achieve all, because for the most part, when it talks about setting up a goal, you get it, right? You have it. But the problem is, I don't want you to wait until you get this shocking awakening that kind of rocks the boat. So let's not have that happen. Let's talk about the energies that are at play. Let's make some really positive new moon intentions, and we're going to try to stabilize all of this energy, turn some of this energy around. So you made some big decisions. Some of you have made some partnering energy changes. Some of you have made decisions that I think you might be second guessing. It added some burden to an already challenging situation as far as in some of your goals. And I mean, it's not that it added a bunch of, what I want to say is it added challenge in a good way, and it created burden in a good way, but burden is burden, and it can be very hard to mentally balance goals and dreams, hopes, wishes, moving forward, heart, partnering requirements. Like, that's all very hard, and you have been working diligently to try to find a way to make all of this work. I think for you, you just need a little bit more peace in the situation. There's an imbalance, you know there is, and it is about turning all these energies around and moving forward. And there is a logical way to do this. And the tug at your heart when you're doing this can go away. The way that I see it is that you're seeking some emotional fulfillment, but you're used to putting that on the back burner. And now that you have something, you know, tugging at your heart, it's actually causing you to get irritated because you're having to factor this into your outcome. It's time to have a conversation, right? It's time to take a look at this from a logical perspective. It's time to broaden your perspective, which I know can be very difficult for you, especially when you get set in your ways and everything has to go just your way. Possibly somebody in your life can come into, come into the situation and actually change the way that you look at this. And I have to say that it's for the better. So if you open up yourself to listening and validating the source that this information is coming from, I believe that this can turn all of this energy around. And we don't have to go through that severe shake-up awakening in order to do that. I don't want you to gloss over the details, and I don't want you to pretend like everything is fine, because you can only allocate so many mental resources to climbing the ladder. I think what you have to do is understand that you need to balance. Life is a balancing act, and you need to get the percentages right. And so what's off, I think, is some of the emotional fulfillment and some of the requirements that family may be asking of you when you're at a point where you're trying to stabilize your foundation and you're trying to move forward. And so I think it is just a time for a big talk about where you mentally are at with this, and how much you can take of it, and where is your limitations. Don't fall back on fighting about it and throwing a big tissy fit to get your way, because it'll work. Nobody will want to deal with you, and it'll make all those energies back off. But I think at that point, that's when you'll experience that awakening, shake up energy that is saying, you know what, that's not going to cut it. That worked for a minute, but it's a Band-Aid. I've got more to talk about. We've got more to resolve. We've got more to take care of. A sextile is a gorgeous energy. It's asking you to open yourself up to a new way of thinking. And in order to do that, you have to validate all of the people in your life and how they feel about all of this. And all of this emotional energy is draining to you, but it is definitely something that you need to validate for them. That is my advice to you. I think you have a beautiful transit to look forward to. These next 30 days are going to open up your partnerships. But what can happen is sometimes when Jupiter gets a little spunky and, starts to deal with Neptune, and Neptune squaring you, it can expand some need to escape, or expand some poor coping methods, or expand your need to, or maybe it'll expand stress, or it'll expand anxiety about the situation. And we don't want you to go through all that. I don't want you to feel anxiety or stress or overwhelmed because you're trying to balance too many things at one time. I know your main goal to me at this point looks like really stabilizing your family and really getting your heart-based endeavors on track. But I want you to really be aware of that shakeup that I see. Keep it in the back of your little mind. And I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event. Hi, dear Aquarius. This is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for the new moon that is going on in Libra and for you. Okay, we got to talk, because this is all going on in your 9th house, right? This is broadening your perspective. We all know that you're dealing with a lot of 7th house stuff this month. And for you, you are feeling very controlling. You are trying to stabilize the situation, and you are trying to find balance. And the deal is that initially, you have been carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. You have been supporting a relationship that's in balance, and you are the one doing all of the work. And that is frustrating you, because this person that you're dealing with has a very narrow-minded approach to things, and you have this really broad perspective. You see the hope in the future, and you see the outcome as being very positive, but what's happening is there's a big challenge in getting that picture, that outcome, and I know that you're determined, and nobody can probably make something happen more than a determined Aquarius, but you're also dealing with a person who has the free will of choice. And so they can either choose to get on board with you or not. So, and I'm thinking there's a whole lot going on here. There's a whole lot that is out of your control. And allowing yourself to process the fact that you have no control over this outcome is going to be difficult for you, because you're going to have to fight with your ego. And you usually get what you want if you fight hard enough. And you usually find a way to overcome it. But you are coming up against somebody that can equally challenge you and is strong enough to deal with your control issues. And you care enough about this person to, at a lot of points, really back down from it. And so you don't receive the emotional fulfillment from the situation that you desire. So it's like you have the picture, you're going through the motion, but the emotional fulfillment that you see, that's where it's lacking. But it is right there. It's within. It's tangible. You can see it. But I want to say that it really doesn't have anything to do with you. It has to do with who you're dealing with. So it's time to take a look at this thing very realistically. So let's talk about the energies about this transit, and then we'll get a little further into it. So Uranus, your ruler, is in Aries, and it is in opposition with this new moon. What this means is when you experience opposition, you experience energies asking you to make a change, right? Now, this isn't a quincunx. This isn't a butting of heads, and it cannot meet in the middle. But it is asking you to face where you lose power in this particular relationship. And the reason why I say relationship is because it is a new moon in Libra. It could mean that you're in a legal dispute and, you're having to deal with the fact that this is not going your way, and you may have to negotiate a new term of this, or there's a contract that maybe the contract isn't, some of the fine tuning isn't going your way to the degree that you like. And so you're trying to negotiate these things out. That's all very Libra energy. Find a diplomatic approach to it all. The hard thing about all of this is it's very hard for you to be diplomatic when you are feeling so vexed and so wrong, and you are burdened and you are overwhelmed, and you are very passionate about taking a stand about this, because you are done with your foundation being rocked. You are done with what the situation is doing to your life, and you are trying to stabilize it and overcome it. But you are not trying to enable the situation to be dysfunctional anymore. And so I think it's very difficult for you to be creative in this process, because it seems like you need to, you feel highly compelled to want to control it. So that could be some of the challenges that you are starting to face. This doesn't have to do with, the only thing that it doesn't have only to do with a partnership. It can have something to do with a work-based endeavor, or a partnership that, where you're dissolving a partnership and you're going through like a child custody suit, or you guys are trying to dissolve your marital assets and you're trying to work through all of that and see what's the diplomatic approach, what is in the best interest of all to be able to walk away from this, and for, everybody involved to feel okay. But I think you're so butthurt over this. I don't think that's entirely your motivation. Even though it should be and normally is with you, I think that for the most part, there was such an injustice done that maybe it's just the validation for the fact that you did go through this unjust action. So Saturn today, your other ruler, is going to try to come in and stabilize this energy a bit. It's like you have this Uranian energy that can make you go up half-cocked and make you go through an incredible power struggle, or or you can face a fear, or you can have Saturn come in, you can tune into the sextile that's in today, and Mercury, because it's Saturn in Sagittarius, is in sextile with Mercury in Libra, and it's going to ask you to listen. consider other perspectives. Have a conversation that's diplomatic about a very passionate subject where you, and this is hard because when you get fired up, man, damn, you get super fired up. So I want you to try to find a way to communicate effectively. Now, you're going to be on fire. You're going to be fierce. There's a lot of powerful fire energy in today and moving forward in this energy. So beware of how you're dealing with this, right? Beware. If you're talking about setting up some powerful routines with this person that you're trying to partner with, or this endeavor that you're trying to resolve, or this legal issue that you're trying to get a hold of, I want you to try to be as fair as possible, even though you're freaking probably dead right. Dead right. I would beware of the fact that there is an imbalance in who you're dealing with. Or perhaps you're so ego-based that there's an imbalance in your perspective and what you're asking of your partner to be able to stay with you. So I really want you to try to keep your perspective very realistic. I want you to be as diplomatic as possible when the energies are pulling you into a lower vibration. Really tap into this sextile, your ruler asking you to gain some control over your faculties, and find a very positive way to communicate effectively what your desires are in the midst of all of this. That is my humble advice to you. And don't forget that you are worthy of being emotionally fulfilled and of love to its fullest potential. Don't let this, and I want to say you could be dealing with somebody who is narcissistic and is not in balance. And I don't want you to get, whatever you do, don't fall into their vibration. Keep your vibration high. And if they fall into their vibration, then remove emotion and, try to keep this in perspective, because it's going to be quite challenging moving forward. It doesn't say that, it doesn't mean that you're not going to have a great outcome, because I believe that you can because of this, right? That's a beautiful card. It's a very healing, gorgeous, outcome. But you have to turn around a whole lot of energy to get to that. And that's going to take a lot of determination, which I think that you are the type of person who could be challenged enough to do. But there's some pain that you're going to have to work through to get the outcome that you want. Thank you so much for tuning into Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event. Hi Pisces, this is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for the new moon that is going to be going on in Libra, which is in your 8th house. So let's talk about the 8th house. The 8th house represents a lot in astrology. It's a very pivotal house. It's kind of called the Halloween house. Some people call it that because it's the house of death, right? It's the house of rebirth. It's the house of birth. It's the house of transformation. It's a big, big house. It's usually where we got to make some significant changes if that house is being aspected in any way. You kind of look at that in your natal chart. Now for you, this new moon is going to be asking you to make some big changes. And I gotta say, all of the changes that you make moving forward are going to create a wonderful outcome if you tune into the right energy source, right? So your ruler is loving Pluto and Capricorn. So this is about creating a stable outcome. This is about maybe possibly a work-based endeavor finally panning out, finally empowering you, finally starting to create some sense of self-worth. This could have to do with the fact that you are feeling very on point. Life is going your way. the visions that you had moving forward are starting to come to fruition. And that I think in general, you are starting to feel like you have some stability in your life. And this is very important for a Pisces energy, because for them to make positive changes, I think their foundation must be secure, because I think they waver so much. I think they need something strong to stand on and build on. If it's a relationship, if it's a creative endeavor, if it's a creative thought, maybe anything that motivates them in the right direction is positive. Now, when energy is like this, it does challenge you, because you're feeling so good. Opportunities are starting to come your way. When Pluto in Capricorn is feeling like this, it means that there is beautiful opportunities asking you to make a choice. And that choice can be frustrating, right? It can cause you to feel a lack of control in the situation, because there's so many opportunities. It's like you don't know which one to pick. Now, don't hate me when I say this, but when you guys get too many opportunities, you check out. You don't make any decision, right? You're completely indecisive as hell. And when you have a Libra moon, that doesn't make it any easier, because that's a very indecisive energy, because you're weighing the pros and cons and weighing the pros and cons and weighing the pros and cons. And pretty soon you understand pros and cons, and you're like, I don't frickin' know. They both sound good. I don't know what I'm doing. And so you don't know the direction to go. Obviously, there's something coming. You've been working really hard to get it, kind of behind the scenes. And it's something that you feel very deeply emotionally connected to, but you haven't attained it. But there's opportunity that comes up every so now and again that actually creates expansion in that area. However, it's really hard when everything is kind of floating along a cloud for you to make any kind of decision right now, because you don't want to rock exactly where you are at. So today, Saturn is going to be asking you to be very realistic about where you want to go. Where is your future? Where is your stable outcome? And these kind of tough questions can tend to make Pisces want to escape, fall into past coping methods, and to hold back and to emotionally withdraw. But I want to say that's not in your best interest. There's a lot of powerful energy asking you to make some changes that will create a stable outcome and will move you forward. And, opportunities come along, but they may not come along quite like this. So you do need to start to get back to Neptunian energy. Look, Neptune energy has been through it. It really has been challenged. And where it is being challenged is in your routines. Your heart-based routines, how you seek pleasure, how you stay motivated, and what you do to expand your horizons. All of those routines are being challenged, but when you've got a lovely sextile, it counterbalances that. And those are just in opposition. They're not all in squares. So this is about having conversations with significant people in your life and talking about where you see a future, where you see you're going. There's a pull to the past. There's something that happened that was painful that I think kind of is a monkey on your back. It's a small percentage of your energy, but it's definitely something that it's almost like things are going so good right now. It's almost like you don't want to invest too much. You want to emotionally withdraw and hold back, because every time things start to turn around for you, something comes in and make sure that you don't ever get that stabilized energy. So you're so used to having so many burdens, and then somebody's coming into your life and helping you have direction and motivating you and stimulating you. But the square lies with you is allowing that person to actually come into your life and to motivate you and to stimulate you. You see, the thing is sometimes when we start to open ourselves up, we start to feel vulnerable, and that makes us emotionally withdraw and make sure we kind of do an inventory check. And unfortunately, some of the ways that you tend to withdraw is through escapism, through alcohol. And so I think you're wanting to stop doing that, but this energy is making you feel like you might need to do that to get through it. So it's a challenge. I'm not going to lie, I do see that as a challenge, but there's so much pretty energy to focus on other than that. Focus on empowerment. Focus on progress. Focus on living in an attitude of gratitude for what you currently have and the foundation that you're starting to build on. There are so many new things coming your way. And yes, it's overwhelming, and yes, it can cause anxiety, and yes, you can feel foggy and indecisive. It's okay. You're not on a timeline to make a freaking decision. You may be on somebody else's timeline, but you are secure in the fact that you can make your own decisions and you're on your own timeline. So just own that. Own this beautiful energy and move forward and progress, because this gorgeous Libra experience for you is going to be lovely. Thank you guys so much for watching an Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event.